Hello and welcome to another edition of Unreal Engine Study Hall. I guess this one is special because technically this is the first edition of what we're going to have to call Unreal Engine 5 Study Hall. Every one of these that we've done so far has been using UE4, and this will be the first one that actually uses Unreal Engine 5. So what we're looking at, I've already, in the interest of time, I've already launched the editor, and this is the new project browser splash screen where I can see my recent projects and make new ones, etc. Today we're going to make a new one, so we'll click Games, and as I often do, we'll use our third-person template. No need to change anything here. We're going to be working in Blueprint. And we just need to find a good name for it and a good destination for it. The destination is already set to an external solid state drive that I have, but we just need to give it a name. So we'll call it Retarget, because that's the subject of today. Actually, we'll say, be even more specific, new retarget, because the animation retargeting system is one of those things that has changed quite a lot between Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. If you're transitioning, just like most of us are right now, there are some growing pains, and the retargeting method is well, it's more labor intensive, to be honest, but it is also worth it, as I hope you will come to find as you study this. So again, a third person, new retarget, that's fine, and we'll go ahead and do that. We'll see if we end up making use of starter content. I'm actually racing against a hard drive that's almost full today, so hopefully I can get all this in before that hard drive runs out of space. And as you can see, the editor is going ahead and loading. If yours doesn't load this quickly, it may be because it's usually the case that if it's your first time loading a particular version of the engine, that it takes a lot longer just the first time. Subsequent attempts should happen much more quickly. So I don't care about new plugins. I will update the project. And this is the new third-person template, so we do have the ability to hit play and run around. We have this mannequin right now, and this is one of two that comes with the template. This one is called Quinn, cleverly, because that's the second half of the word mannequin, so I thought that was really cute. And that is of one particular body type. Quinn has a skeletal mesh and also an animation blueprint of its own. If I go to the third-person character blueprint, you'll see that in the viewport, that's the skeletal mesh that's being used. I could also change out that mesh and go for Manny, okay? And Manny is a different body type and also has its own animation blueprint. Okay, so hopefully you saw the pose there change. If I compile and save that, then once again, if I play the game, now I am Manny and not Quinn. So we're going to do a lot more than this today. We're going to get a character that is, neither one of those and get it working within this game. So let's hit save all every once in a while, go to our root content directory, and now I'm going to go to my Epic vault. That's under the library tab here, so I'll just try to scroll down. I wish there was one button that would take me to my vault, the top of my vault. So I need a character mesh, so you can choose whatever you want and whether it's animated or not. Okay, so there's one that I got recently called Ghost Lady Necromancer that I really think is cool looking. So Ghost Lady Necromancer. There she is. Add to project, and this is called new retarget. So let's look for it. NEW right there. And we'll add it to the project. And while that's happening, I'm also going to look up an animation pack that we can use. I like this one, Evil Magician. So we'll add that to the project as well. And that is new retarget. and they should not take long. We can see, as a matter of fact, it's already done, because if I click on downloads, if it says you have no tasks, that means that you can proceed. So we'll minimize the Epic Launcher right now, and you can see that everything that we need has, in fact, made its way into here. Today, we'll be talking about, like I said, the new animation system, which is based on something that is used in professional animation, but also in the field of robotics. It's something that goes by the name inverse kinematics. And inverse kinematics is basically, it's a different way of animating characters than what you might be accustomed to. This is in contrast to FK, or forward kinematics. In forward kinematics, what we have is sort of like a parent-child hierarchy of bones. Therefore, my upper arm might be the parent to my lower arm. So therefore, if I change the transform of my upper arm, the lower arm is going to move in proportion. Not in any kind of smart way. It's just going to follow its parent. And the hand is a child of my lower arm, and it too will follow. But when you're dealing with inverse kinematics, I'd like to show you just one interesting thing here. I have what's called an IK rig for the mannequin that this game comes with. And I want to point out that what we have are these boxes here. You can see a representation of the skeleton and the skeleton hierarchy. But we've got these what are called sometimes end effectors, or they can also be called goals, IK goals. If I lift this up, it's not going to just rotate the limb. What it's going to do is solve equations for anything that comes earlier in that chain. It's going to set their transforms accurately, as if this hand actually just needed to reach wherever it happens to be reaching, okay? So you can see this is going to potentially result in much more realistic animations in appearance, okay? Again, on the left, we can see the skeleton's hierarchy of bones, okay? And we'll be consulting that once in a while. And here we can see what are known as IK chains. IK chains are just chains of bones that begin with a base and end with some other bone that's usually made into an end effector, particularly the hands and feet. Let's keep this docked for reference, because we have to create these IK rigs every time we want to do animation retargeting. So let's go back to our content directory and find Ghost Lady. Now, if I'm being honest, it does come with animations, and it does come with really good animations, by the way, and an animation blueprint, which we can use if we wanted to, in which case no retargeting would have to take place. And furthermore, if you have imported a character that does not come with animations nor an animation blueprint, it's fine, because we're going to be recycling animation blueprints all over the place here. Okay, so let's go back to our content directory, and we have, let's see, we've got the Ghost Lady, and we're going to look for the mesh that we want to use. She comes with combined meshes and separates, so let's go for combine, and let's use this one with that has, I think, the most equipment and hair and so forth. So now that we know which one we want to use, I'm going to back out to her root directory and make a new folder called rigs. Okay, this is where things start getting different compared to Unreal Engine 4. We need to make what's called an IK rig, I beg your pardon, for that particular skeletal mesh. So here in the rigs directory, we'll right click, and if I hover over animation, I can choose that option, IK rig, and it's going to ask what mesh, what skeletal mesh we want to use to make that rig. We already chose this one, so that's the one that I'm going to pick. And the naming convention is IK underscore, and I can just call this the character's name, Necromancer. That's good enough for me. I don't have to type Ghost Lady Necromancer. I know who the Necromancer is in this particular example. So here's what I recommend. First of all, look at the example, the mannequin that comes with the third person template. And I want to make a point here that one of the most important things that you can do is familiarize with the way that the naming conventions work. Notice that they all begin with capital letters, even though the bones don't, okay? The names of the IK chains, they begin with capital letters. And if they use two or more words, the first letter of each word is capitalized, and there are no spaces allowed. Furthermore, if you have multiple words, each one is capitalized and no spaces before numbers and so forth, usually preceded by a 0. Okay, you get the idea. And when we look over there, we can see that every IK chain has a starting bone and an ending bone minimally. And we don't have to necessarily duplicate this to the level that it is presented here. We only have to think about the bones that are necessary to create that are going to be important to the animations that we have in mind. So let's go back to the necromancer, and there are going to be certain things that are important. To start making our IK chains, which is the first order of business, we have to set what's called a retarget root. And in Unreal Engine 4, that is the pelvis. So I'll click the pelvis bone, right-click that, and choose this option where it says Set Retarget Root. Next, I want to get this into our IK retargeting list. Okay, so we're going to choose what's just above that says root, and right-click and choose this option, New Retarget Chain from Selected Bones. All we have to do in this case is capitalize the word root and then press OK, and that'll add it here. This is just what we want, so far so good. Now the mannequin that comes with the template, it actually has 5 spine bones. You can see it's labeled spine. It starts at spine 01 and ends at spine 05. But this came from an Unreal Engine 4 skeleton initially that only has 3 spine bones. This is fine as long as we pick the correct starting bone and give the chain the correct name. So I'm going to call this spine, so that it matches that of the IK mannequin. The breasts are not important for any animations that we're doing. You'll notice that in the IK mannequin, the clavicles are done as 2 separate chains, okay? They don't have anything but themselves, and I'm going to follow that example here. So we'll take our left clavicle, make an IK chain, give it the correct name, and here, again, spelling counts, as does capitalization. We'll do the same thing for the right clavicle. That will go there. Okay, so now let's do some arms. The arms go from upper arm left to the hand, okay? Just like they do in the mannequin here. If we look at the arms, it goes from the upper arm to the hand. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here, upper arm to hand. We'll make a new retarget chain, and this is going to be our left arm. Skip the weapon bone because I'm not going to be using that. And we're going to do our right arm now, and that's going to be upper arm right to hand right. Doesn't matter really what order you do these in. So we're going to make the chain, right arm. I'll show you something also. We have to do the head, and in the mannequin here, the head is just the neck 01 to the head. Let's see if I can find it. Neck 01 to head. So we'll do the same thing here. Let's find those bones, neck 01 and head. Make that chain and call it head. Pretty soon you'll have this memorized because you basically get a cheat sheet right here, okay? This has extra bones for the face if we were doing facial animations. We haven't done the legs yet. And the leg, it's going to be a little bit different because we have to skip this twist bone. So to do that, we'll start with the left thigh and hold down, instead of shift, we're going to hold down control so we can avoid that twist bone that we don't want. So I'm going to select all of the other bones down to ball left. Okay, so let me show you again. Thigh left, control. Calf left, skip the twist. Foot left, ball left. Right click, and that's going to be our left leg. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing for the right leg. Thigh right, calf, skip the twist bone, foot right, and ball. And that's again holding down control or command, probably if you're on a Macintosh. And that's going to be our right leg. Fingers are optional, but I always do them. So we'll do them right now, starting with the left fingers. Index. Okay, I'm sure that the new mannequin has more bones per finger, but we've just got these 3 for the index finger, which is fine. Okay, so we'll say left index, because that is the same naming convention that our SK or our other IK rig uses for the new mannequin. Here's our left middle finger. This is home stretch territory. Left middle. And left pinky. Left ring finger. And the left thumb. And I think all we have left is the fingers of the right hand. So here's the index finger bones. We'll call this right index. Right middle. Right pinky. Getting there. Right ring finger. And then the thumb. Okay, I think we have all the important stuff. We're not animating the face. We've got the legs. I can look this over for spelling. I can just make sure that my bone mappings, I didn't make any errors. That's always a good idea. So let's just hope that I didn't. I'm now going to add a new full body IK solver. So we click the button that says add new solver, full body IK. And while that's highlighted, I need to add a root bone for the full body IK as well. And that's going to be this virtual bone up top where it says root. So we can right click that. We don't want to say retarget root. We want to say set root bone on selected solver in this case. Let's save our progress so far. And now we're going to add some end effectors, okay? One of them is going to be on the left hand, and these are called IK goals in Unreal Engine. So a new IK goal for the left hand. We want one for the right hand, a new IK goal, and for the balls of the feet. So there's the left ball, because that's the last bone in that chain. So a new IK bone, new IK goal, I beg your pardon. And the ball of the right foot is going to be its own IK goal, which we will then assign here. The left arm, that's going to be left hand goal. The right arm is going to be the hand right goal. The left leg is going to be the ball left goal, and the right leg is going to be the ball right goal. Okay, great. So now we've got IK goals, and you can see that our skeleton is working very much like what we saw demonstrated earlier. Okay, so let's undo that and put those back where they belong. And we're going to save. Okay. Preliminarily, let's close this tab, and I guess we can close this tab as well. Preliminarily, I beg your pardon, we're going to back out into Ghost Lady here, and she already has a rigs folder, so that's fine. And in her animations directory, I think what I might do is I might make a new folder here that says retargeted. And inside of that, we're going to get some animations from different sources. So I'll make a couple of folders for this. New folder from Manny. Make another folder from Quinn. And we're also going to retarget animations from that evil magician. So new folder from evil magician. And lastly, for our retargeted animation blueprints, we're going to, this is just for me, just so that they're not mixed in with all the zillions of other animation assets that we're using. I like to have this in its own folder, and I'll just call it AnimBP. We already know that these are all retargeted because it's in the retargeted parent directory, AnimBP. Okay, and like I say, this character does come with one. We can use it, and frankly, it is very good. I like it even more than the animations that come with this template. But we're going to be able to use them all, and I want you to see how that works. So let's go now to our content directory and locate our rigs for the default mannequin. So we'll go into here. It already comes within the template of rigs directory, and you can see that it has a IK rig, okay, that's been prepared in advance. We had that open before when we were making our comparisons. And we also have an IK retargeter, okay? So we're going to open up our IK retargeter, and we've got a source IK asset that you can see here is IK mannequin, and it really can't be changed. So if I hold down both mouse buttons, let me just either dock or maximize this. If I hold down both mouse buttons, I can sort of move my mouse left and right, and I can also use my scroll wheel. And while I'm in here, I'm going to reduce my camera speed also, just so I don't spaz out, okay? Can't change the source, that's on the left, but the target you can change, and I'm going to set that to our necromancer. If you have any experience with animation, you probably know that the closer these poses are to each other before you begin, usually the better the results are going to be. And we can edit the pose if we want to. If you choose to edit this pose, beware that the bone draw size is absolutely humongous. So if you scroll down the details panel a little bit, you can set that to something like 0.8. And that makes it one heck of a lot easier to work with, in my opinion. We also have the target actor offset, where you can specify where this is, the target actor scale, if the model is really, really big compared to what's normal for Unreal. So you can get these right next to each other. Another cool thing for matching the poses is that if I set the target actor offset to 0, that just puts them into the same spot. So I can see sort of where the discrepancies are. Let me set my rotation grid to this value, which is a small value. I'm going to try to match the arm a little bit better. So we'll select the upper arm and move it 1406. And we'll do the same thing over here. Okay. And that's a little closer. And maybe down on this axis a little bit. That's a little closer. Let's take the lower arm, maybe back it out a little bit. This is a lot more forgiving with IK than it is otherwise. So now let's spread them out again. With the offset, we'll set them about 150 units apart. And this is not a bad time, by the way, to start auditioning your animations and seeing how they look. When we export these, or retarget them in a sense, you can do these individually, like edit the pose for every single animation before you import them, or you can do it as a group, a batch export. And today I think that that's probably going to be better simply because, it's going to be too time consuming. I just realized that the rotation on these hands does not look quite right. So let's go back to edit pose and let's select a hand and let's rotate it. 59.06, no. Let me see. Okay, there's no absolute readout that I can tell here. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. And let's do the same for this hand. I think that's closer. Okay, get out of edit pose. And now we can start looking at animations. For instance, let's just search for walk. MF stands for mannequin female. MM stands for mannequin male. So this is the female walk. And that's the male walk, which is fine. This is barely useful. Okay, but that's probably part of a blend space. Okay, so these are looking okay. And I could, like I say, I could edit the pose for each animation individually and export them. Or I could just get it as close as I care to, and then just do it as a batch. So in this case, for the sake of time, let's do them all together. You can just click one of them and then hit Command A for select all, and then export selected animations. Earlier, I made a directory in Ghost Lady called Animations Retargeted. And this one is coming from Manny, okay? So we're going to click from Manny and export those into that directory, okay? And that'll take a little bit of time. And we'll save them. And I'll just pause my screen recorder until this is done. I'll be right back. All right, so you should know that that took about 7 or 8 minutes, all things told, just to move these into the appropriate directory and then save them all. But there they are. They're into the retargeted from Manny directory. And at this point, let's do this again, except this time we're going to do it for Quinn. So let's go back to characters, mannequins, rigs, and we're going to retarget from the Quinn, excuse me. I don't know if we actually need to do this because Quinn has an animation blueprint, and it is a child. In this case, it is a child of Manny. So we can see if I open up the Manny animation blueprint and look at the anim graph, we have the full graph, the full editor, everything here. But if I were to do the same thing for the Quinn animation blueprint, you can see it says this is a child NMBP, a child of ABP Manny. So I have the feeling if we edit this blueprint, this is going to be, or this animation blueprint, this is going to be the main one that matters. Before I duplicate this and retarget it, I want to point something out that there is something that comes with the animation blueprints of the new characters. And it's this node here that says Control Rig. Control Rig is something else we are going to be using later, and it is important. But if we were to leave this in the anim graph right now, it's going to result in a certain problem that's going to cause our character's feet to remain stuck to the ground as it tries to run around. So I recommend just preemptively disconnect. Okay, disconnect that from the execution flow, but don't delete it. Just leave it in the graph. We're going to reconnect it later. I'd also like to point out, if you didn't notice, that we get the default slot automatically, okay, right after our main state's state machine. That's where they decided to put it, but that's fine. This is something we used to have to add manually in Unreal Engine 4. And we might even have to add manually today because we might like the animation blueprint that came with the Necromancer more than this retargeted one. And it probably doesn't have the default slot added. But okay, leave it there, just bypass it, okay? And we'll compile. And the Quinn blueprint should inherit that, okay? So next thing is we're going to retarget that blueprint. Okay, so take the, oh, by the way, the animations for locomotion for both of these, they're just right in here, exactly what you'd expect. Okay, the idle, walk, run, jump, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let's take ABP Manny, right click, and we'll retarget. Duplicated retarget. The IK retargeter can be this one because it's coming from Manny, and I'd already smartly selected the mesh that we've been working with. But I want to make sure that this goes where I want it. So I'm going to choose the path here where it says change. And I already made a path for it, I know, in Ghost Lady Animations Retargeted. This one is going to be from Manny. Okay. And we'll let those retarget. Okay, and there they are. So we'll say, let's say save all. Hopefully this is not going to take forever. It will take forever, I promise. So I'll pause the video one more time so you don't have to wait it out. And I'm back. Okay, so that actually didn't take almost any time at all. And let's now do the same thing for Quinn. Okay, so let's see, that's going to be under animations, Quinn. This is the animation blueprint. Retarget, and this is going to go, let's change the mesh here to Quinn. It's the same retargeter. So that's the source mesh. This is our character. And I want to put this into the Quinn directory that I made. So Ghost Lady, animations, retargeted from Quinn. Okay, retarget. And we'll save all of those. Of course, while I had my recording paused, this went a heck of a lot faster. It evidently knows how to mess with me. So okay, that wasn't so bad. So let's do a save all. Yeah, it looks like I'm all caught up on saving. Great. Okay, one last thing is that Ghost Lady did come with its own animation blueprint. So let's go to Move Basic. And this is that animation blueprint here. I don't remember if we added the slot or not. That's what I'm going to be checking for right now. So in the anim graph, okay, so right after, yeah, this came from UE4. So after the locomotion state machine, pull off, just type slot, and you'll see, oops, slot, and you'll see that default slot right there. And that is, again, going to enable us to play our anim montages, compile and save. So now this character should be compatible with 3 different animation blueprints. So let's go back to our third person character under third person in the content directory. Go to that blueprint and open it up. If we head over to the viewport, let's select the mesh component and switch that out for the one that we are going to want to use, which is what's her name? I know it when I see it. It's that one right there. And she's going to snap right into her A pose, which of course is not what we want. There are 3 animation blueprints right now that should work with this character. One of them should be one of these Mannies. Okay, so I got lucky on that first one. We could rename these as we go. Hold on, let me dock that because I hit play. And you can see that this is the character wearing Manny's animation blueprint. Probably not so great, okay? So let's see if Quinn's is any better for this mesh. And one of these two Quinns should work. Yeah, that one. This one's probably going to be a little bit better, but still the proportions of these meshes are not exactly the same, although it is working, okay? Frankly, the animation blueprint that comes with this character is actually pretty good, okay? And I have to admit that. It's actually better than either of the ones that we retargeted. So the one that it came with is down here, the female anim VP. And you'll recall that we added our own default slot to that. Now, this looks a lot more natural for this particular character. It has the same kind of capabilities, okay? I would like it if our character could jump on top of those larger pieces of geometry. So I'll go into the character movement component and find jumping. And increase our jump Z velocity to something like 900 centimeters per second. Compile and save, and let's try that now. I should be able to jump right up onto these things. Yeah, that's a lot more fun to me. We could play with the camera. Okay, so let's see. We're going to go to our camera boom, first of all, and let's get closer to our character here by changing the target arm length. And maybe we can just bring the whole thing up a little bit. And maybe I'll select the camera and increase the field of view to something like 112. Let's see how that looks in the scene. I kind of like that more. I think the camera's a little too high. So let's take the boom, bring it down, and let's enable some camera lag on the boom just to smooth this out a little bit. Let's look for it. Lag. Enable camera lag, rotation lag, the camera lag speed. Let's do maybe something like 20. 20. We can always come back here and we'll just do 20, 20, 20. And see if that helps to smooth out the camera movement a little bit if we make sharp turns. Okay, so I think maybe I want to lower that arm a little bit more. Get it more so that the character seems more well-framed when we're playing. That's too low. So maybe one notch higher. Compile and save. We could also manipulate this so it's over the shoulder. We could make this a first-person game just by shoving the camera right into the face of the character and maybe attaching it to the a socket that we make for the head. And that would work fine too. But for now, I kind of like this. And in fact, when I play in editor, I want to maximize so that I get that nice full screen. While we're in here, I'm going to adjust the lighting a little bit. Control L will bring that up, and we can now, just relight our scene a little bit. I could play with the sky too if I wanted to, but I just wanted to make this maybe a little bit closer to sunset. Okay, so that looks nice. We'll save all. And let's see how our character looks in this environment. Okay, pretty nice. All right, so now I want to use some animations that come from Evil Magician. So let me remember, did we make a rig for the Evil Magician? Because if not, we're going to have to. Characters, meshes. I don't see any rigs. Okay, so now we're going to do speed rigging. So this is made from the mesh. So let's go back to its root directory, Evil Magician, make a folder, call it rigs. It's going to need an IK rig and an IK retargeter. So let's go animation, animation, IK rig. If I'm going fast, it's mainly because I know I'm low on disk space. And this is now, I've tried to film this more than once and I keep on running out of space, and I don't want that to happen. So the skeletal mesh that we want in this case is the one that came with Evil Magician. And there are two of the old UE4 mannequins here. If we look at the path, which is at the top of the tooltip, we can see that this one is the one that came with the template. But if I hover over this one, this is the one that came with that animation pack and is therefore the one that I want this IK rig to be associated with. IK underscore evil magician is going to be the name. And let's just hit save all. I don't remember when the last time I saved everything was. And let's see how quickly we can do this. Pelvis, set retarget root, set that in our, make a retarget chain for the root with the capital R. Okay, let's do this quickly. Spine 1 through 3. And we're going to go spine. Yep, it was easier in Unreal Engine 4, but IK has a lot going for it. You'll find out the more you use it. So this is left clavicle. Our arm, our left arm. Okay, name of the game here is speed right now. I might not do this in the same order, but it doesn't really matter as long as we use the same start bones and naming conventions, like I said earlier. So this is going to be the left index. You do this once or twice, you'll have it down, you'll have it memorized. It really is not as big a deal as it seems. So this is the left middle. Left pinky. I'm just going to go right on down the hierarchy. Left ring. Left thumb. Oops. And we'll do, did I do the right clavicle? I don't remember. Doesn't look that way. So we'll do that. Because we remember that the mannequin, the new mannequin did the clavicle separately. So let's do the right arm. We'll do the right fingers. Right middle. Right pinky. Picky. No, gotta be careful. That could have screwed it all up. And the right ring finger. Right thumb. And we just got some legs to do. And legs are easy. They just require that you hold down Control or Command a little bit. Oh, the head, of course. Headless Horseman, we don't want that. So head. Neko 1 to head. And then we'll do the legs. Okay, from thigh, holding down Control, selecting calf, skipping the twist bone, going all the way down to the ball of that left foot. And we're going to call this left leg. And we'll do the same thing here for the right leg, skipping the twist bone down to the ball of the foot. Right leg. Okay, that seems all right. And now we're going to add our full body IK solver, highlight that, and make the root virtual bone, not the retarget root, but the uh, root bone for the selected solver, which is this, excuse me. So with that set, it's now missing goals. So let's make a goal on the hand, and we're going to make a new IK goal for the hand left, and we're going to do the same thing for the hand R, make a new IK goal, and then the balls of the feet. Ball left, new IK goal, and ball right, new IK goal, and then select them here. So in our left arm, then the IK goal or end effector is going to be the left hand. In the right arm, it's going to be the right hand. And in the legs, it's going to be the ball left, ball right. Okay, so let's save that. Okay, and now we should be able to retarget the animations that we're interested in. So let's go back here for a second, and we're going to make another asset here because we're retargeting animations from the Evil Magician. So it has to have its own retargeter, okay? So here under animation, we're going to look for IK retargeter. It's just above IK rig, right there, IK retargeter. And it walks you through this. Pick IK rig to copy animation from. In this case, it's going to be from Evil Magician. The naming convention for this is RTG underscore, and then the name of the character, Evil Magician, or something that makes sense to you. It doesn't so much matter what you call it, as long as it's something you can remember, okay? So we'll open this up, and what I can do at this point is I can set the target rig to be my necromancer. I can audition these one by one. Just make sure that there's nothing weird going on here. Sometimes I'd like to make sure that the feet are not clipping into the floor, and this is good practice usually. If the feet seem like they are clipping to the floor, you can go to the chain mapping. Let's say it's the right leg here, okay? So let's go to her right leg, and you'll see this thing here that says blend to source. Okay, right now it's not really mattering because we're not having the problem. But if you see something like the foot seems like it's sinking into the floor, just select that IK chain and increase the blend to source value, probably as high as 1 is not that bad of an idea. Okay, so let's go back to our asset browser. I'll stop the animations for now. And again, I could, I suppose, let me just play that again. I suppose that there are things I could adjust. Looking these over, okay, but it's fine for now. Okay, I don't want to get too carried away with finessing all the animations. And the fact that her head is kind of drooping down, that's part of that mesh in the first place because she's kind of supposed to seem emo or kind of spooky as it is. So we might as well take all of these and we're going to export them. And I should have a From Evil Magician in my Ghost Lady animations area. Retargeted From Evil Magician, which is fine. Okay. And there they are. All retargeted. And we're going to do a save all. Wait a couple of 100 years for this to finish. Okay, very good. Now, I want to make a montage out of one of these. This is the animation I think that I liked so much, and it is. So let's make a montage out of that. Don't need any of that open for now. Okay, so this is going to be made into a montage. So with that highlighted, create anim montage. No need to rename it because it gets a very obvious name. You can if you wish, and I'll save that. Okay. And now let's implement some of this. So let's find our third person blueprint. Okay, and we already, I think, didn't we already, I think we already changed out. Oops, I just screwed up. Window, load, default editor layout. Even I do that sometimes. Okay. So I think we already, if I'm not mistaken, didn't we switch out the mesh and the blueprint? Okay, yeah, I think we did. Okay, so that's looking good. And we added the slot in there as well. So we should be able to just program that right in the event graph. So just so you know how I got here, okay, so we've got in our content folder, we've got our ghost lady, and we also have the third person character under third person, and we basically retargeted everything, including the mesh. So if we go to the viewport, we can see that the skeletal mesh we're using is Ghost Lady, and Ghost Lady is using an animation blueprint, and it happens to be this one, but it could have been Quinn or Manny. Okay, this is just a nicer set of animations that she came with. We put the slot in there ourselves so that we could add montages, which have been retargeted. So let's go over into the event graph, and let's set up an input for this in project settings. Scroll down until we see input, and we're going to make a new action mapping by hitting plus, and we're going to call this magic spell. Oops, hold on a second. Undo. Okay, beg your pardon. So we want to make, I almost just goofed up the jump. So we're going to call this magic, I think I can have spaces, spell, magic spell, and that's going to be, I think, left mouse button. So left, where is it? Left, left mouse button. You don't have to compile this, just close it. And now from within the event graph, I should be able to just call that by name, right click, left mouse button, not left mouse button, excuse me, of course, the event, magic spell, derp, okay. So this is now going to be a lot like Unreal Engine 4. We're going to do the same things that we would normally do, pull off, disable movement. Unless you're doing, like lower and upper body montages. Right now, we're going to do it this way, where we just sort of stop the character in its tracks while it's performing this montage, so that it can't sort of scoot around the floor while casting this spell. This node gets its information from the character movement component. So even if this, let's say, didn't come in connected, I could always bring in that and make that the target if I wanted to. Okay, that's literally no different. Okay, so let's just get that back. Oops, excuse me, that wasn't supposed to happen. So let's just get that back to what it was. Not that it matters, okay? And the next node is stop movement immediately. And even if I don't use the one that says character movement, keep in mind that I already have the character movement component here, and that can feed the target pin on stop movement immediately as well. Okay, so the next node is play anim montage. Okay. Target already knows it's itself, and that should work without having to get a specific reference to yourself, because after all, think about what blueprint we are in. There shouldn't be very much choice here because I only made one montage, and there it is. Okay, so I'll just select that. And then the next thing I want to do is use a delay, a flow control delay, time delay. So that this, before my next execution, it waits until the montage is over. Now, here is the duration in seconds as a float, and what is returned here is also a float, and that is going to be the duration of the montage. So this will delay precisely how long this montage lasts. And then lastly, we should be able to type in set movement mode. Again, it's going to get a character movement node attached with it. But again, even if we didn't have that there, we already have the character movement component right here, and we can make that the target. If we get spaghetti, then we can, of course, make use of reroute nodes to clean up just the appearance of our blueprint. We'll be doing more with this in just a little while, so I'm not going to make it too overly aesthetic. Compile and save, and let's play and see if this is working. Okay, so she's running around. She can jump really high, and she can also cast that spell. Okay, so let's just make sure. And she's stuck in place, by the way, right now. So there's something I forgot to do here in the set movement mode. The new movement mode needs to be set to walking. Okay, somebody probably caught that as I was doing it. So and if she is, I want to make sure if she's walking right at us that that's where the spell is aimed, so to speak. And it just doesn't seem to have any problems at all. That's blending in very nicely. And now that we have that, I thought as long as my hard drive doesn't run out, which is entirely possible, maybe we'll go through the process of creating a magic spell for this character to shoot out the ends of her hands. So this will be a projectile, and we'll make a new folder. I'll call it Magic Projectile. Double click, and we're going to make a new blueprint class of type actor. Okay, if you use Unreal Engine, you've done this before, and I'll call it Magic Projectile _BP. And bring that up. Okay, so we'll double click that, and I'll dock it so I can work on it. We're in the viewport already, but if you're not, just click on this tab. And when I'm making a projectile, usually I like to start by adding a static mesh component. So we're going to go and search for static mesh. Not any of these ones above, just a regular static mesh, and I'll call this the sphere. For this, I like to use material sphere, because why not? Okay, and if I hit this padlock, I can scale this on all three axes in any way that I like. So until it looks like a good size for me. Now, this does not look very much like I would want it to look. I think I'm going to make her throw something like a fireball. So maybe what we can do in that same directory is make a new material, something that glows like a fireball. And I'm going to call this material glow. And we'll do a very simple material. There's the attributes node, and I want a vector 3 constant. So I'm going to hold down the number 3 and left click in the graph, and I get a vector 3 constant. And here I can just use the color picker and just set red to 1, and that's it. So we're going to get red. Okay, you can make this whatever color you want, but for me it's going to be fully red. And that can be connected to base color. This will be a really simple material. And I'm going to copy and paste that node and bring it down a little bit and maybe to the left, because off of this value, this return value, I want to choose a multiply. Okay, and it's going to give me a multiply node there. And off of B, we're going to choose a scalar parameter. What happened? Oops. Scalar parameter. That's what I want. And I'm going to call it glowiness. Okay, so let's make this thing glow by plugging the product of the multiply into our emissive color. And then I'll just set a default value of something, really dramatic, like 9,000. Okay, so that's glowing, okay, for sure. So apply and save. Okay, so we'll use that at least on our on our projectile. Okay, so let's select our sphere, and the material is going to be glow. Okay, so we have that, and let's add our projectile movement component. And with that, let's set the initial speed to something like 1250. Okay, and we'll see if that's fast enough. While I'm here, I'm also going to search for the word gravity and set the gravity scale to 0, and also on our mesh, which is this sphere. Okay, we're going to uncheck, disable, or enable gravity. Clear the search, okay? Because I don't want this to droop over distance. I want it to just shoot out, and we can simulate that. This looks a little slow. Maybe we'll speed it up later, but now we know that this is basically working. So now I'm going to do add some particles to this, okay? So let's do this. Let's select the root, and we're going to add a particle system. And that will be, let's make it like a fireball. Okay, so fire. And let's use the one that comes with starter content. And now our little sphere is on fire. But it's going to be moving. If I simulate, I want to make sure that this kind of trails. You see, it's kind of leading the direction of the fireball. So why don't we just rotate that until it feels right to us. Not all the way, because smoke still, not smoke, but fire still rises even when it's in motion. Okay, and we'll do another particle system. Of course, there's some really great particle systems on the marketplace that I could import or in my library, but for now, let's make this one smoke. And we'll just use starter content, rename smoke. And the smoke, we're going to just find it in starter content. It's right there. And there's our smoke, which we can rotate back a little bit, just like we did with the fire. I like that. Okay, compile and save. Okay. And simulate. Let's zoom out a little bit. And we'll simulate that again. Yeah, it's kind of slow, so let's speed that up too. That's in the movement component. So let's go max speed 1500. But to see how it feels in the scene, okay? Okay. Oh yeah, we didn't code it yet. So hold on a second. Simulation. All right, we'll see how it is in the scene. Compile and save. Let's go back to our character blueprint. And this is the animation code, but we can also spawn the projectile here. So after play anim montage, I'll take everything that comes after that, and we're going to just move it over to make some room for some other stuff. Because I'm going to place a sequence in between the anim montage and the delay. So let's pull off and type SEQ, get a sequence. And I'll add one more pin to it so that there are a total of 3. Now, our original execution flow is going to happen, but off of then 1, I want to choose spawn actor from class, actor spawn, actor from class. There it is. Let me just make sure. I'll do that again. My meeting controls were sitting on it. Spawn actor from class, that's the one we want. Okay, and our class is going to be magic projectile, BP. And this wants a spawn transform, okay? And I could say get actor transform. That would work, but I want to show you the essential problem with that. Okay, so if I compile and save, there are two things that I want you to notice. If I go into play, it'll play the the montage, but notice that it's way too early, right? It's coming out of her abdomen for one thing, which is very strange. And I want it to wait until it's at the extension of her hands. It looks like I've got some sort of trace going on here that I'm not aware of, but that's okay. Not until it's at her extension of her arms. And also, I want the spawn not to be in the middle of the abdomen. I want it to be at the extension of the hands. So let's try to fix that. And we're going to go back to the character blueprint. Let's go back to the viewport for a moment. And I'm going to use something that's really, really handy. Let's slow down the camera again a little bit. And it's something called a scene component. So I want to highlight my capsule here and click add and type scene. We don't want these others, just the one that says scene, okay? And I'm going to just use the transform tool and kind of estimate where do I want this to spawn, okay? Because the scene component is just something that's there and has a transform. And it's parented by the capsule, so it'll follow you around. Okay, so we can always go back and tweak this, but I'm going to estimate it right there for now. Maybe a little bit farther out. Okay, compile and save. Maybe up a little bit. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. Yeah, up just a teensy bit. Okay, compile and save. And again, that's just an estimate. Go back to the event graph, and instead of using the actor transform, which is the actor meaning ourselves, I'm going to use the scene components transform. So we'll drag the scene into the scene component into the event graph. And off of that, I will get the world transform. Get world transform. Let's remember that a transform is a struct. It's actually like 3 structs wound up into one. One of those structs is the location, which is a struct, right? It's got 3 coordinates. Rotation has 3 coordinates, and scale. So I like to split this struct pin, and each of these unto itself is a struct. So let's split this one also. Now, the location is the location of the scene component, so we don't have to change anything about that. But the rotation, well, I'll show you the problem here. If I just use this rotation, we're not going to bother needing the scale. Then my projectile is going to be kind of locked to just one plane. Right? If I point up, nothing happens. It doesn't go where I want, except it goes, sort of like directly in front of me. So we don't want that. And also it's spawning too early. So let's estimate this. Off of then 1, we'll use a delay. And I'm going to estimate about half a second, so 0.5. And I'll hard code that and test that out. That's not bad, okay? Maybe a little bit longer, 0.52. And also I think that the scene component might be a little bit too far away. So let's go get that scene component and bring it closer to our hero. Compile and save. And let's play test that now. Excuse me. Okay, that's looking pretty not bad, okay? And by the way, that material sphere static mesh has collisions, so I can interact with other physics actors here. That's kind of fun. Okay, so anyhow, let's get out of fun mode, because goodness sake, we should not have any fun here. And a couple of more things that we can possibly do. Let's go back into the event graph, and it's delayed. But one problem is that I don't know if you noticed this. If I point up or down, I was not getting the pitch. So let's disconnect this for a moment and split the rotation struct on both of these. Okay? So the rotation for X and Z, I want to use from actually get actor location. Rotation, beg your pardon. Get actor rotation. Okay, yeah, that's the location. So we'll split this struct. And I want the roll and the yaw, okay, to come from the actor rotation. So that's going to be roll, and that's going to be yaw. And then for our pitch, okay, what we want is I'll pull off that. And I don't remember the name of the node, so something about pawn control rotation. Pawn control rotation. Might have to uncheck context sensitive. Okay, so let's see, pawn, get control rotation. And I'm going to split that struct because it's a rotator, and then we just need the Y. Okay, we just need the pitch for that. Okay. What are our targets here? Our target here is a pawn object reference, so I'll just choose get player pawn. And then this one is an actor object reference, and this is ourself, so we can just type, it already knows it's itself, but I'll just type get player character as a safety precaution, okay? And that way it'll be valid. Okay, so we'll compile and save. And we're going to get back into this game once again. And now I can shoot up. I can shoot down at things. Be helpful if I made like a, what you call it? Like crosshair, you know? And we can give this character all kinds of other abilities. We just need to make the mappings for it and set up all the animations. Her face looks dark to me, so one little last trick, why don't we make her eyes glow? We already have a glow material after all, so let's find Ghost Lady's Mesh. Binds, and I believe we were using this one. And let's find the eyes right here and change out the material. Okay, material eyes, we'll just type a search for glow. Make sure, yeah, there we go, save. Oh, don't take forever now, we're almost done with the tutorial. Watch me run out of disk space right about now. I'm going to pause this just in case. Be right back. Okay, so it appears that we have our glowing eyes now. So I did save that, and let's go back into play. And oh yeah, I think that's a lot cooler. Maybe she'll get another power at some point where she can shoot lasers or magical arcane spells out of her eyes as well as her hands, right? Proper way to do this, by the way, is with something called aim offsets. So this is a little bit of a hack, but at least it allows us to have some pitch control over our magic powers, okay? So there she goes. And just for your information, I do have a sound effect that we could attach to that. So let's go back into Magic Projectile, and we'll make a folder, might as well, called Audio. And I just made this WAV file very, very quickly yesterday. So let's import. It's right on my desktop. It should be very easy to find. Spell sound. Open. This is just a 16-bit WAV, and we'll save it. It's not looping. And I'll make a sound cue from that. I'll get my meeting controls out of the way. I could do this with a meta sound source, but it's just not going to be necessary in this case. I'll call it spell. Oh, wait, it already had a good name, didn't it? Except I royally screwed it up. Rename spell sound underscore cue. That's fine with me. And our wave should be in there. This should actually just be ready to go. Okay, there's nothing I need to do here. Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So now let's get back into, let me just dock this so it keeps on, because it keeps on going away. Let's get back into our third person character where the spell is being cast and go back to that sequence, okay? So all of this stuff that we just got done doing a moment ago, we can highlight, just move over. And off of the next execution output pin of the sequence, I can use either play sound at location or spawn sound at location. The main difference is that the spawn sound at location node is going to have a return value, and the return value is simply going to be an object reference of that sound. So if you need that, use spawn. If not, use play, and I don't need it, so I'll just choose play sound at location if you want it to spatialize. I'll choose that sound cue. I don't remember what it's called, but I think it had the word magic in it. Spell sound? Oh no. Spell, yeah, that's the cue. That's what we want. And we'll just do it right at the actor's location. Okay, so we'll pull this off. Actually, we won't pull this off. We'll type get actor location so that it knows that it's ourselves. Okay, and that'll go right there. Okay. The target is the actor object reference. I don't think we need to populate that because it already knows that it's self, and think about, again, which blueprint we're in. But if I wanted to play it safe, I could say, get a reference to self. So it's not like it's going to break it or anything. Okay, so compile and save. And now when we play this, the audio is going to sound out of sync with the spell. So you might have guessed it, we need another delay node in here. So let's do that. Delay. And I'll estimate this. It's probably going to be about the same as this. So we'll go 0.52 and see if that makes it feel right. Okay, that sounds late to me. So let's make this a little earlier. 0.45. Okay, still late. 0.385. Okay, that's early. 0.4125. Still a little early. 0.43. This is just a tweaking game. Okay, real close. 0.42. I'm going to try 0.44 just to see the other direction. Maybe somewhere in between. 0.45. I don't know if I tried that yet. Okay, that's good enough for now. And why don't we just use some starter content here, and we'll drop some music in there, and it'll feel a little bit more like an actual video game. So starter content, audio, and we'll just use the starter music cue. And that, by the way, is going to auto activate by default. So auto activate, you can see is checked. All right, so all I gotta do is play. Actually, my meeting controls are on top of it. Let me move those out of the way. I'll play one more time. And yeah, she needs things like footsteps and vocalizations and other types of like breathing sounds and whatnot. But at least she can have her magic. I keep on missing because I don't have a crosshair. Yeah, that was a good one. That's an error. Okay, so yeah, I need to do a lighting build probably, and that sort of stuff. But let's just hit save all. Yeah, there were some things that weren't saved anyway. So uh, let's see. I wonder how long the lighting build would take on this. Let's max everything out. Let's go to engine scalability. That's already set to epic. Material quality level, set that to epic. And we're gonna go, what was that, mobile preview? Excuse me, settings, was that mobile preview? Preview rendering level, yeah, shader 5, that's fine. And then we're gonna do our lighting quality and material quality. Okay, so we're gonna go, let's see, where is that? Build, beg your pardon. Lighting quality, production, build, lighting quality. Okay, let me just check my material quality again. Epic. Okay, so let's get back in here and we'll do a lighting build. I have the feeling that this lighting build, because I don't have any actual lights in here, Lumen is taking care of everything you see so far. So we'll just do build lighting only, and this might take no time. Yeah, okay. Doesn't take any time at all because there's really nothing to build, really. I mean, there's no baked lights. As far as I know, this is all real time, and Lumen is taking care of it for me. So that's a welcome new feature. So getting a little bit of audio distortion, and I think that has to do with my interface. I don't know if you can hear it or not. Yeah, her eyes glow a little too much. I could probably make a new glowing material for those, and all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, also different action mappings for different powers. We've got other animations, not only here, but also on the marketplace and probably in your very own libraries that you can use. So you saw how I implemented all of that, including the sound, and I can now highlight all of this and comment it out. So we'll hit the letter C and I'll call it magic. Ooh, I can even make a space, magic spell. Okay. And yeah, of course, I could probably straighten out the look, the layout of the nodes to make it easier, make it more compact in appearance. But I think that this is okay though, because it's very, very easy to interpret. So, all right. So magic spell, they know what it is and they can look over this code. And I think it should be really, really obvious what's happening here if you know Blueprint at all. Okay, so we'll compile and save one last time. And we're going to conclude here. So thank you once again for joining me. This has been Professor Ben Blau for Unreal Engine 5 Study Hall. I look forward to seeing you next time. If you have any questions, just get in touch with me and we will work this out together. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy this video and do at least this much, if not to expand on it further. Okay, take care and I'll see you next time. Bye.